Everyone, welcome to another episode of Dietitian Life, where we tell you about our weeks. As you can see, we've got a special guest all the way from Italy, and her name is
Francesca Piras.
Yeah, there we go. We kind of got it. Thanks for joining us today. So how about you tell us a little bit about your journey from when you decided you wanted to be a dietitian up till now?
Okay, so, well, I decided to become a dietitian because I was very interested in learning how to help people with nutrition, especially the disease people. So I discovered this bachelor degree in dietetics, and I have to pass an exam in order to apply to this course, because only 15 to 20 people per year can study dietetics in every university in Italy. So I tried this exam to enter, and I passed it. And yeah, then I studied it, and I really liked it. And afterwards, during my dietetics degree, I spent 3 months in Barcelona, in Spain. I did an internship there in a company that worked in the sport nutrition field. So I really enjoyed it, and I thought, why not study also something else? And when I finished my bachelor degree, I started working for 2 years and saved my money to do a master degree in the Netherlands about sport nutrition. And here I am. I finished it in August, and yeah, so now I'm a dietitian, sport dietitian.
Okay, so what do you have a job now in terms of as a dietitian?
So now I'm unemployed, but I'm looking for a job here in Italy. I wasn't lucky up to now, but I hope I will find something. Otherwise, I think I will go abroad, always in Europe, because I think that if I want to go, for example, in America or in Australia, I need to do extra exams. So I think I will stay in Europe at least. But I'm really trying to find something here in Italy.
Yeah. Is it hard to find? Is there many jobs for dietitians?
So actually not. As I have told you, I also asked the opinion to other dietitians through a survey, and they told me that basically there aren't many jobs for dietitians, especially in the clinic field. There's something for the catering, because we also work in industries that prepare food for hospitals or schools. So in that field, it's possible to find a job. But if you want to work in hospitals or, for example, also in private hospitals, it's very hard to find a job. And also many dietitians work in the private practice, like they're self-employed.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
They're very similar to us. Very similar. There's hardly any jobs for dietitians in hospitals, and everyone ends up in private practice. But we don't have much of the catering or food service other than in a hospital, really.
I can't hear Peta.
Can't hear you talk.
Where did you actually work?
I haven't heard anything. That's very strange.
You got to talk quicker, slower. So where did you work in between your initial job? So initial degree, you worked for 2 years, and then you did the masters. Where did you work?
Yeah. So I worked in a catering company.
Okay.
And I was very lucky because it was in my same town. So yeah, I think I was very lucky to work there and to find a job very close to my home. But personally, I didn't like it that much because I prefer clinics or also sport nutrition. But for what I heard and read, many dietitians prefer the clinics over the catering companies because, yeah, it's more dietetics job. So
yeah, you're working with clients versus.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So one of the questions that you surveyed your crew was about other professionals working in nutrition field.
Yeah. So in Italy, in Italy we've got 3 professionals that work in the nutrition field. One is the dietitian, the other one is the nutritionist, and then we've got the physician specialized in nutrition, and we call it dietologo, which would be like dietologist, but it doesn't exist in English, I think, because I tried to look at it, but it doesn't exist. So basically, the physician is a person who completed the medical school of 6 years, and afterwards he does a specialization, I think, of 4 years, but I'm not sure about it, about nutrition, and he can prescribe and elaborate diets, while the dietitian needs a medical prescription in order to do a diet. And the nutritionist, it's very complicated because they can be biologists or people that completed sports sciences who enter a master degree of 2 years about nutrition or not. And they basically become biologists, and they can register as biologists, and afterwards they can elaborate diets. But what happens is that many times, only because you are registered in the biologist register, you can elaborate diets even if you are specialized in marine biology. So it's very strange, and I think it's because the law is not very clear about it, and it doesn't clearly state, okay, only people who have completed those specializations can elaborate diets. It's very, I don't know, I think it's very unclear, the law here.
Yeah. Do you think it's the same?
Yeah, 100%. I had someone, can you hear me?
Not that much. I don't know why I can hear Tyson, but not you.
Register to yours, maybe.
Don't talk to me. It's recording.
I had someone that came over from Brazil. She was a dietitian, and she was saying how dietitians in Australia are not as highly thought of as dietitians in Brazil, and that dietitians in Brazil are sort of equivalent to doctors and physicians in terms of their value within society, within their country. So it's just, again, I think it's very dependent on the culture and certainly the laws, which are pretty much exactly the same as we struggle with here in Australia. Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, not a dietitian, but the same. Yeah,
except ours don't have to have a master's degree. We don't. People can just walk out and do a 1-week course and call themselves a nutritionist.
Yeah, it's also here like this because there are like the true nutritionists that are biologists, and then there are also people that maybe apply to a 3-day course and call themselves a nutritionist, but basically they are not really allowed to call themselves like that. So
yeah, but no one does anything about it. No.
What's right?
No one does anything about it. No one stops them.
Yeah, here, I don't know. Here, I think it's very tricky because there's council, an health council, who wrote an opinion letter about the differences between nutritionists and dietitians, but it was very not conclusive, and I think that it raised much more problems and questions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So did you say? Yeah, sorry. Did you say earlier that you can only prescribe? So in terms of when you were talking about the doctor prescribing a diet, are you able to write a meal plan for a client without being a physician?
So we strictly need the medical prescription, but what we can do is, for example, if a physician doesn't give us a prescription, we can write a meal plan, but not with the grams. We can just work as an education, nutritional education. So, for example, saying what they can change of their lifestyle, and give them portions not based on grams, but based on, I don't know, for example, pens or spoons or something like that, without specifically saying the grams. So we work in this way if we don't receive the medical prescription. But I think it's a little bit dangerous because sometimes maybe we don't know if a person has got a disease. So I think that it should be like always mandatory to have a medical prescription. But I get that sometimes it's quite difficult because many physicians don't know about dietitians. And they think that biologists, nutritionists can work without prescription, while it's not like that, because we both need prescription. So yeah, sometimes it's just very hard to get it.
Yeah, the prescription sounds like a referral. So it sounds like the doctor needs to refer the client and tell you what diseases they have so that you can do a meal plan with grams. Yeah.
Yes, okay. I can't hear you.
So,
can you hear
I'm
it?
sorry, I can't hear you. No, I don't know why.
What do you ask? Who monitors the whole meal plan thing? So if you were to prescribe someone a meal plan, who's going to stop you from doing that? Who's policing it? Who's, like, if you got caught, who would catch you?
So, I think that, well, from this year, we have a register, but like last year, we had got only associations. And I think that now it's the register who controls that dietitians are registered, and they can truly prescribe, write diets. And I think that it should also control who works in this field without having a degree. I think, but I'm not sure about it.
Okay, that's all right.
Maybe some dietitians will listen to this video, they can write about it.
Yeah, okay. I guess what for you is the hardest part and the best part of being a dietitian in Italy?
Oh, well, I think that there are many problems. Like the first one is that we haven't got enough jobs because there's also a professional fraudster. So it's already hard without professional fraudster, but with also with people that write diets without being dietitians or nutritionists or physicians specialized in nutrition, it's even harder. And also I think that our profession is not very well recognized among the general population and among professionals. So I think that our association and register should really do something about it in the next year. And
good luck.
Yeah.
we have the same kind of issues, and that's been going since we've ever been dietitians and before us, and I'm sure will continue. So it's definitely difficult. What questions do you have for us?
So I will check it because I've got them here.
Yep.
So I would like to ask you, how long does the dietetic degree last in Australia, and how it is structured?
This is going to be interesting since you can't ever hear Peter, so I've got to answer everything. But so how long does it take? So 4 years is a bachelor degree. That's you can do in nutrition and dietetics, or you can do a bachelor degree in science and then do a master's of nutrition and dietetics of 2 years. So you can do a 4-year bachelor of nutrition and dietetics, or you do a 3-year undergrad and a 2-year master's of nutrition and dietetics.
Okay.
So 4 or 6 years, depending on how you go. 4 or 5 years, depending on how you go about it.
Okay, I see.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Here it's like 3 years of bachelor degree, but then we haven't really got yes, we have got some master degrees, but they're not nutrition specific.
Okay.
Or there's one master degree which is about nutrition, but basically we repeat the same things we have already studied, because it's meant for the biologists and for other professionals.
Yeah.
But it's not like this all over Europe, because for example in Spain or UK it's 4 years, the bachelor degree.
Yeah.
And I know that in Iceland and Norway is 3 years bachelor degree plus 2 years of master to become a dietitian.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different all over Europe.
Okay. Cool. Next.
Yes. Okay, so I would like to ask you, because I'm personally interested in it, if you've got many PhDs meant for dietitians, and if there are many dietitians who apply to PhDs.
Yep. There's no real number. It all depends on the university. So every university will have a PhD program for the most part, and then it might be 1 or 2 people a year usually. Yeah. Now you can't hear her at all, can you?
No.
I don't think anything can hear. So if it's a nutrition, this is going swimmingly. If there's a nutrition and dietetics course at the university, then they'll usually have a PhD arm, and most of the time the person that's completing the PhD will be a lecturer for the nutrition and dietetics course as well, because they don't make any money from doing a PhD other than a scholarship. So in terms of numbers, it's really hard. Like some unis have a lot more PhDs, other unis might have only 1 or 2 at a time, and they go for 4 years over here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, or it could be over part-time over 8 years, but full-time 4 years.
I see.
Yeah.
So this takes me to another question.
Yep.
Have you got many dietitians teachers during your bachelor course?
I had 4 different ones, so I didn't have a lot. Is that a lot? I don't know if that's a lot, but there was only 4 lecturers in the masters that I did. How many in yours? She can't hear you. It does.
Thank you.
I'll be able to hear you.
Okay.
So her course lost accreditation after she started, or after she finished. So there's some courses that continue with universities, some that kind of get swallowed up because they're not at the highest quality that they need. So I don't know whether that happens over there in Italy.
So, well, here many dietitians told me that they don't like the fact that we haven't got that much teachers who are also dietitians in our university. Actually, I don't know why. And I think that the few ones we have are just simple dietitians who haven't completed a PhD, because here in Italy it's quite difficult to do a PhD.
Okay.
Because I think that our country doesn't invest that much in PhDs in general. So for this reason, there aren't that much dietitians who complete a PhD.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's similar to us, really. Like you won't make money really doing a PhD, which is usually why they do lecturing as well and get paid to do lecturing. But it is hard to get in. You need to have really good marks and then have a good research project to go with it. So it's not easy to do a PhD here either.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah, I would like to ask you if the university offer opportunities to get into the labor market, or do you think that there isn't that much connection between the university and the labor market worlds?
Yeah, there is no connection.
Okay, so
no. So we do, like you were talking about an internship. We do something that we call placement, where you spend 6 months pretty much across different hospitals or public health service or possibly food service and catering. And then you finish and then you're released. So there's no help from that point.
I see. But do you make like a 6 months? Sorry.
Peter was just saying, like, a lot of it is tailored towards getting a hospital job. So a lot of the coursework, all the stuff that you learn, is around getting a hospital job rather than working in private practice or in catering if you're doing that, or sport. Most of it is towards a hospital, and there's not many jobs like we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
I see.
Mm.
Do you make like 6 months in total through the 4 years, or like every year you make 6 months?
No, 6 months in. So it's the last year, you'll do 6 months usually. Some unis are changing it slightly now, but it was pretty much 6 months all up.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, for what I've done, I think that it's like this also in other universities. We make like maybe 2 months internship or 3 every year. So yeah, it's not like all in the last year.
Yeah. Okay. I think that would be better.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice actually, because you can see what you have studied that year. So.
Yeah. And then you can figure out if you still want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus waiting, like doing 4 years of study, do it in the last 6 months, and you're like, oh no, I didn't know this is what dietitian was. Being a dietitian was.
Yeah, I can imagine. But I also have to say that in our universities, we study a lot the clinics. But then when we have to go to find a job, as I told you before, we mostly work in catering companies. which, yes, we study, like the catering during our bachelor degree, but it's not the main thing we study. Or also, as I told you, many dietitians are self-employed, and we do not study anything about marketing or, how to manage the private practice alone. And I think that at least we should do like a very small course during our degree about it, because, yeah, many of us just work in that field, so.
That's the same. Some universities now here are doing a little business subject, but for the most part, yeah, it's an elective, so you only have to choose to do it or not some of the time. So most people don't. But yeah, it's the same. It sounds very similar to how things are here. Yeah. This is the quietest Peter has ever been in life. Okay. All right. Next, you have another question?
I will check.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yes. Are there any other professionals who can work in the nutrition field? You told me nutritionist, but have you got other professionals?
So anyone really. So a lot of people, I don't know if it's the same there, I'm assuming it is, like on Instagram, like attractive men and females, doing their, fitness plans, meal plans online. We have health coaches. We've got personal trainers that train people in a gym that believe that they can give a meal plan when they shouldn't. They're not meant to. We've got nutritionists. We've got just people on the street that lost weight and now they're telling everyone about it. And there's naturopaths, homeopaths. Doctors also do it, and they don't, unlike your doctors that you're talking about, our doctors have one subject in 4 years on nutrition, like one lecture. They don't really know. So it's all based on the individual study that they choose to do. So the quality of that information can be very different. But yeah, there's a lot of competition, but social media is probably the biggest one at this stage, because everyone believes that they know what's right when it comes to food just because they eat.
Yeah, we also have got the same problem, especially with personal trainers and some physicians who haven't studied nutrition.
Yeah.
So, and also, yes, people who have lost weight and they think they know everything about it. So, yeah, it's the professional process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you need the medical prescription to do a diet?
Nope. We can do it for anyone. So as long as we've got, as dietitians, if you're accredited, you can do a meal plan for anyone that walks up from the street. We don't need a prescription. Okay.
So usually, how does it work? Someone comes to you, and you can basically do.
Yeah, anything. So basically, they come and see us. They tell us why they're coming to see us. So say they want to lose weight. We ask them if they've got any medical history. So if they do have diabetes or heart disease or something like that. And then social history, any other clinical things, then go through the diet, then identify recommendations in a meal plan if they want a meal plan from that point. We don't have to have the doctor involved. With the doctor, the only good thing about them being involved is often they can get referred and the patient can get a rebate from the government. So the government will give them a refund for a portion of what they pay us, so that to see us. That's usually if they've got a disease or like diabetes or something like that. They get a certain number of visits each year that they can use if they choose to. Yeah.
But what happens if you, for example, the patient doesn't know that, for example, he has got hypertension? I don't know, just a clue.
Yep.
and you make like a standard meal plan, what happens next? Like if he discovers afterwards that he has got a disease or like a condition?
Well,
Not really on us.
it's
We take
really
their history and it's up.
so yeah, it's pretty much up to you to get the information from the client, and if they don't know, for the most part, as you would be aware, when you write a meal plan, you're pretty much writing it to minimize all disease risk possible. So it's not like you're going to write something that a diabetic will necessarily get and then they'll have huge hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. You'll write quite a definitive plan to tick all the goals. And someone's got hypertension. Most of the time they're probably overweight to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to help them lose weight, it's unlikely that you're going to be telling them to have heaps of salt on their meals and in their cooking.
Yeah, that's also true.
You know, so with diabetes, the same thing. It's not like anyone who doesn't have, like, if they don't know they've got diabetes, you're still not going to tell someone to go have 4 cups of pasta with dinner, because it's not going to be good for their health anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, in terms of us not knowing, as long as we've got evidence that we asked the questions in our notes, if they ever came back saying, hey, you caused this, we're like, well, we asked you and you didn't tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, we've never had anyone come back. Either of us had never had anyone come back going, oh, you did this to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
that's
that happen a lot?
interesting.
Does that happen a lot in Italy? Do people come back and go, hey?
Well, I haven't tested to the other dietitians because I've never worked in private practice, for example.
Yeah.
But I think that we are like more for the fact that we need the medical prescription. We are sure that the person has got or not a disease, and we say, okay, if the doctor says like this, I will do like this. So it's just to be more sure about it.
Okay.
But I know that there are many dietitians who think that we should work also without a medical prescription. And they think that we should be more like free and autonomous. I don't know if it's correct in English.
Yeah, it is. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are also many dietitians who would like to have your same situation.
Yeah, no, like it would be very difficult for us to run any private practice if we had to get a doctor's prescription. Like, I don't think it would work. It would be horrible.
Yeah, and to that end,
well,
or you know what I mean, like all medical fields and all GPs is varied.
Did you hear that?
Not really.
So basically she was saying that then we have to rely on the doctor, and sometimes the doctor doesn't know anything about the client in terms of different aspects, and we have to rely on them to know everything, and they've checked everything, and there's just going to be issues there, and we get those issues just like, oh, so your doctor's referral's only for diabetes, but you also got heart disease, hypertension, and cancer. You know, like it's just another.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I know that many dietitians have got a lot of problems because of that. Because, yeah, as I told you before, many doctors don't want to make the medical prescription, or they just say that, they don't know much about it. So, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, same problem. What other ones do you have?
Yeah, I've got 2 other questions.
Yeah.
Is it possible to get a salary and position increase during the career in Australia?
100%. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So every year. Yeah. For the most part. So in Australia, we're pretty much governed by a government legislation where you get a certain amount and then as you increase in experience or years at a job, you'll go up to certain rungs. That will stop at a certain point until you add stuff to your work. So as a clinician, as a dietitian in a hospital at the base level, you might stop at a certain rung before you then start managing people, and then that might be the next rung up, and then you'll have a few extra to go up. It's only small increments, like $1 or €0.50 a year in terms of per hour, but it would still increase gradually if you're on a salary.
Okay. Because I think that in the hospital here, we do not have like an increase, but I'm not sure about it because a girl told me about that, but I think it's very strange because I know that for other professionals, this happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, if somebody will watch this video, can tell me if it's true or not.
Yep.
No.
Do you have, sorry, can I ask you a question? So
yeah.
Do you have any idea as to what the starting rate is for a dietitian in a hospital in Italy?
What, sorry, can you repeat?
Salary. What's the salary for a dietitian in the hospital when you first graduate?
I think it's not that high. I think it's like 1,200 euros
a week?
Per month, because we get paid per month, so not a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that high.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure the correspondent in dollars.
I'm trying to do the conversion. I'm pretty sure it's close to double what ours is, but we get paid probably 1,000 to 1,200 a week, Australian, not euro. So euro would be maybe 500, 600 a week. So we would be almost double what you get paid first year.
I also think that it depends on the lifestyle and also how much the cost of life there.
Yes.
Because I guess it's quite expensive, Australia, compared to Italy, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, to be honest. In terms of your work, how many hours would you work in a day?
I think that in the hospital it's like 40 hours a week.
Okay. Yeah, same. It's the same. Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes us feel like, oh, well, it's not too bad, but yeah. But I'm not sure what the cost of living is. How much is a McDonald's meal there?
Oh gosh, I don't go to McDonald's since years. I think it's like €9 maybe.
€9.
Like
yeah, I think it's about pretty similar, depending on what you get. Oh well, I'm not sure. We could look into that.
Okay. I will look it up too because I'm not sure. The last question is, do the employers invest in the education upgrade of dietitians?
Okay, so that's professional development type stuff. So giving them, so it depends on the employer. So my company gives $500 a year to staff, employees. And we also give a lot of free professional development out to other people that work for us. And then in hospitals, it can be $500 to $1,500 a year. So yes, like most people that employ dietitians invest in educating them and developing them. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
Because we have got, it's mandatory for us to make courses throughout our career, but it's up to us and we have to pay them by ourselves. And there's not really anyone who controls that we are doing them. But I think that it will change now that we have got the register.
Yeah.
I think it will be more, controlled.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So for us, we have to do, I think, 35 hours a year, 35 hours of education a year to keep our accreditation and to stay registered. If we don't, then we can't remain a dietitian. And then our association is the one that makes sure that we're doing that. Yeah.
I see.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah. What else did you have on there?
Yeah, well, such is life.
There is professional fraudster problems, but I think that's in every profession possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. How do we face it? I don't know. There is you can report them to the association. So if you find something that the association doesn't have, you can report them. The only issue is that you're not allowed to anonymously report them for the most part. So the person that you're reporting knows, and I don't know how it is in your profession, but in Italy, but it's very small here. So if you report someone, people will talk, and then you'll be known as the person that reports people. And that's probably not good for a reputation, but at the same time, it's kind of good. So I don't know what the answer is, but yes, we do have a problem. Yes, there is a way to approach it, but do people care or do something about it? Not so much.
I see.
Yeah.
So we can also report an issue to our association. I'm not sure if we can do it also anonymously, but usually I think that here people who fight against fraudster are very well appreciated by dietitians.
That's good.
So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I know that someone reported some very annoying situations to the association. So sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also think that we should be more on the social media to fight against the fraudster, because I know that there are many famous influencers who work in this field, but are not that much like into this field.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. We've got a lot of them as well. Influencers that, same thing.
I also know some very famous Australian influencers.
Oh yeah.
So
like who?
Yeah, like I don't know if you know Kayla Istines.
Yes.
You know her?
Yeah, we know
and also Emily Sky. She's very famous.
Yeah. So
sometimes I know that they do something about nutrition.
All the time. Yeah. Pretty dodgy. Kayla's pretty big one, and then Ashy Bynes is another one. I don't know if you know of her, but she's one that causes issues as well. So there's so many of them. It's just attractive women that sell nutrition and meal plans and supplements. So yeah. Do you have any questions you want to ask? Peter doesn't. I asked Peter if she had any questions. She doesn't have any questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't hear you. First thing.
Doesn't have any idea. I think that's pretty much our questions, really. Like, do you have any final ones?
Sorry?
Do you have any final questions?
No, I don't think so.
That's it. Yeah, no. Well, that was good chatting to you. It sounds like you've got pretty much the same issues that we have in our profession. Interesting to know about how much money you would make as a first job versus us, but like you say, we don't know lifestyle and all of that, how it differs. But yeah, it sounds like pretty similar, like surprisingly similar. Like I didn't expect it to be that close. So
Yeah,
cool.
cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks heaps for chatting.
Yeah, for me, it's very nice to know that we are not alone in the world.
Yeah, very much the same. So definitely we'll keep in touch and see how you go and see how you go getting a job. So it'll be good. And thanks for watching Dietitian Life in general. It's pretty cool that someone across the world's watching. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you too for this chat.
All good.
I really appreciate it.
I've contributed a lot to it.
All right. Thanks heaps. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.